Sam Rothman joining us again. We just talked about Tennessee football. Let's flip it to Tennessee baseball right now. Obviously, a lot of big news out of Knoxville last week with Tony Vitello leaving for San Francisco. Can you kind of peel back the curtain to the public about what we didn't see about Tony that kind of needs to be brought to light?
Yeah, I can just tell you some stories with me. I just got to Knoxville 2 years ago, and I was maybe a month on the job, right? And Tennessee was taking on Clemson in the Clemson Regional, and I was one of the only TV people to go. And I don't even think I had introduced myself to Tony or not, but he knew that I was new and that I had made the trip out there. He came over to me and he was like, "Thanks so much for coming. Have a safe trip back to Knoxville." And I think that just tells you, like, he knows all of the media, what's going on in their lives. The second the camera went off, he would sit there and chat. Anything you wanted to talk to him about, he would talk about. A lot of times he makes sure the cameras aren't rolling because he said it like it is. If you want to know his true feelings on a player or a coach, you got it. Like, it was just such a pleasure covering him. I don't think I'll ever cover a coach like that. Again, just with his time, always going to do sit downs with us, always doing interviews with the media. I remember in Omaha for the World Series in 2024, obviously there was so much national media there, right? And so many people that had not covered his team. And he made sure that local media got his time and all the best. And he would say, if things overlapped, he made sure that the local media had the priority. I don't think a lot of people would do that. Usually people would go to the ESPNs or, the ABCs or something like that, but he knows that the local media is there on a Tuesday night when he's changing pitchers every out, right. And it's a 4.5-hour baseball game in 40-degree weather. He knows who was there, and he knows who he will want to give his time to. And what just he did for this community, from the lemonade stands when he was suspended to just all the charity work he did. I think that went very unnoticed. And working at a news station, a lot of the sports people wouldn't be there, but we would be covering these charity events, and there's Tony. Tony was there again. Like, right. Just a great ambassador for the university and a great person, and obviously a really talented baseball coach.
Absolutely. I think all of us, from a professional standpoint, dealing with athletics, you want to work at the highest level. But you can make an argument that from college basketball to professional basketball, largely the same thing. You have to deal with some egos. Yeah. Football is the same way. Baseball, to me, is very, very different because you go from, you have the entire control over everything. Yep. You control who you recruit. You control what locker rooms you go into. You control what homes you go into. You have, from player 1 to player 40, you have control over all of it. Professional baseball is so different, especially at the major league level. What do you think drove him to say, hey, I want to take on this challenge, knowing how different it is from college to the pros?
Yeah. I don't think, not to say that the MLB was never a goal of his, right? You always want to go to the majors, but I think he wouldn't have strived for this on his own if they wouldn't have come to him. Right. And I think that's why, MLB baseball, just especially with the Giants, they needed that oomph. They needed a Tony Vitello to bring, that passion and everything back. And it's never been done before, but that's just saying something. They want to change and they want a difference. Will it work out? No one knows. But it's going to bring a difference, and, you can't get much worse than what the Giants have. And and just seeing what he has done at Tennessee, I mean, people would literally have to be paid to attend a baseball game. And you could get a ticket anytime. Now there's a 10-year waiting list for season tickets. They're hundreds of dollars. Tennessee baseball is at the forefront of not only just SEC baseball, but college baseball. I mean, he totally turned this program around.
Lindsey Nelson's getting some nice renovations.
Lindsey Nelson Stadium looks like a real stadium. So if there's a guy to be able to do it, to do a turnaround and to put his whole heart into everything, you can never say that guy didn't care or put his whole heart into it. Like, no kids, no wife. I mean, he was married to the game, right? Yeah. So, and for him, it's a win-win. Okay, let's say it doesn't work out, right? How many colleges are going to come calling saying, I'll take him back? 100%. I mean, it's a saving situation. If it doesn't work, he's still fine, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you have to try, right? He's a competitor. He's going to want to try to compete, and especially with being the first to ever do this, I think the fact that it took him so long to make a decision shows how much he loved this place. And on Tuesday, we were out at the ballpark. I don't know if you guys know about this, but fans held an open scrimmage, they called it. They planned this whole thing. They packed the stadium. and were chanting his name, one last ditch effort to keep him to stay. And he acknowledged the crowd, was telling how much he loves them and appreciates the support and all that. And he really said like that he didn't want fans to think that he didn't take that into account, like that he made the decision the next day to leave. Like that did have a profound impact on him, and I think his time here really had a profound impact on him. And I don't think most people would have taken months to decide on this job if it was any other, coach. Like you could tell how much he loved this place and this opportunity, even though MLB was calling, right?
Yeah, Sam, I think we talked on the program last week about how before Tony Vitello, Tennessee baseball was kind of like the doormat of the SEC, so to speak. I mean, I think I said something when Todd Helton's your best player before Tony V comes. You've got some issues there, but I mean, you went down the list, 2022, what an incredible year to win the national title in 24, just absolutely amazing. But let's flip it forward now, because Tennessee had to find someone to replace Tony Vitello, and they go with Josh Elander. I have to ask, was there any thought of doing an external search, or was he always going to be the guy?
So if you talk to Danny White, who is Tennessee's athletic director, he did a nationwide search that lasted 3 days. So yes, there were rumors that Kevin Schnall at Coastal Carolina interviewed for the job. But the second Tony accepted the job to go to San Francisco, the Hire Elander campaign was on. I mean, it was flooding my timeline. Current, former recruits just saying, hire this guy. And for those who didn't really know Josh Elander, he was a behind-the-scenes guy, but he's the hitting and recruiting coordinator, right?
Right.
Tennessee breaks records every single year with their offense, home runs, hits, all that jazz, right? And then recruiting, they've had the #1 class for the past 2 years.
Yep.
Like, he's the guy. While Tony's the face and had so much to do with the success, right? Josh Elander is the guy who has so much with the success and really didn't get a lot of the credit for it, but he did get the credit in that room. Mm-hmm. And you could just see, I mean, he talked about in his press conference yesterday about how seeing all that made him soft, right? It made him emotional, but he had to kind of throw it out because he needed to focus on his interview, right? And Danny White talked about how he nailed the interview, and how could you not? Like, he also talked with the players and the leadership council, and they all were gunning for him. So I feel like it was a no-brainer for Danny White to not hire this guy. And if he didn't hire the guy, I would be worried about Tennessee's reaction, because that's all they wanted, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like both football and baseball, it has a real chance this year for Tennessee Vandy to be under the national spotlight. Because we just talked about in the football game how it's lining up a potential collision course in the college football playoff for one or both teams.
Yeah.
In baseball, it really feels like both Vandy and Tennessee will have a realistic shot to win the SEC championship and go on to Omaha. So it feels like both athletic programs not only are reinvesting into obviously their programs, but also trying to get the best of the best there at both universities.
Yeah, it's just a great time. Like, it sounds cliche, it's a great time to be on Rocky Top. Right now, the sports, we haven't even talked about basketball. We had an exhibition against Duke on Sunday.
Right.
They ended up losing it, but they look pretty good. Looks like they won't, lost a lot of players, but they look good. A little growing pains. You have Rick Barnes as your coach. I don't think anyone's worried.
Lifetime contract.
So, yeah, he's a lifetime contract. Lady Balls are in the top 5. I mean, there's just a lot of excitement, and there's just a lot of, you talk about NIL and the funding and putting resources into the school, and Tennessee has really done a good job of that, going from, one of the least funded in the SEC to number 2 right behind Texas, Mm-hmm. So I think right now there's just a lot of pouring into these athletic programs, and obviously football's the spotlight, but basketball, baseball, all these things right behind it. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fun for us to cover, right?
No doubt. Sam, you are awesome. Thank you so much for coming here on Southeast Sports Plus. I know you were very, very busy, and we appreciate your time.
Of course. Maybe I'll start. I heard you guys talking about gambling and betting. Maybe I'll take you guys up on it.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe I'll. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
Next appearance, we're going to have gambling with Sam.
Yes.
We're just going to put together money line parlays and everything else.
About that.
We'll get your best bets for the week. Thank you so much, Sam.
I'll see you guys later.